Elementary Electroplating Experiments. This is part 1, the introduction. And before I start this episode, please do not write in to tell me how to do it. And if you don't like this episode, please watch the multitude of other ones about electroplating that are all over YouTube. Why am I making a video about electroplating, and what part does it play in model engineering? This extract from part 72 of a simplex converted to a Great Western Railway prairie tank should explain that. At first I thought that the top cap of the chimney was made from copper. What I couldn't figure out was how the builder had managed to fit a copper top to the chimney where the join was invisible, but then the penny dropped. And here's the evidence. The top cap has been copper plated quite thickly, and so the damaged part didn't really get much better because I was halfway through the copper coating. Maybe I should have a go to electroplating it with a piece of copper. And that's how it all started. This is a 12 volt 5 amp power supply, normally used to power one of my Proxon drills, or in fact 3 of them. As this is a variable speed power supply, I thought I may be able to use that facility to drop the voltage. But as a speed controller knob works using the pulse width system, as opposed to a simple resistive rheostat, nothing happened when I connected my voltmeter and turned the knob from 0 to full. Time for a very basic chemistry lesson. I first learnt this at school, and that's probably 55 years ago. The first thing you need is a suitable container with an electrolyte in it, preferably an electrolyte that contains some sort of copper compound. I have this in abundance in my acid bath. I diluted it though with some water because I thought maybe it was a bit strong. The acid that I use for dissolving the products of silver soldering on copper is called Kilrock K, and it's a commercial kettle descaler. And it definitely works and dissolves the copper because it isn't normally this colour, it's clear. The next thing I need is some suitable wiring. I have a blue wire and a white wire. And here you see the arrangement. I've stripped back the insulation more at one end than at the other. The blue wire is going to be the positive one, and the white one is going to be negative. The next thing that I need are a pair of electrodes. Just as a simple proof of concept, I've used 2 pieces of copper pipe, and I've wrapped the longer ends of the stripped wire around each one. And as you can clearly see in this clip, they're held in place using a pair of spring clamps. For this initial test, I've put the white wire into the positive hole in the power supply and the blue wire into the negative one. And in no time at all, something has happened. The end of one of the pieces of copper pipe is changing colour. I really have my doubts as to whether this initial experiment is going to be successful. I mean, the electrolyte is far from pure. And you can do this by using a 1.5 volt battery. This Proxon electric drill controller is a bit over the top. I've placed the copper tubes at each corner of the plastic tub. The logic being is that the further away they are, the electrolyte will act as a variable resistor and limit the power. Bubbles soon appeared on one of the pieces of copper pipe, and it was turning black. So now, flush with success, I changed one of the copper pipes for a piece of brass. And looking at the copper tube that I've just taken out of the electrolyte, you can clearly see that something's happened to it. Now I'm going to see what happens to the piece of brass. I still have the polarity reversed. The white wire is going into the positive hole and the blue wire is going into the negative one. The blue wire is negatively charged and the white wire is positively charged. So the electrolytic process is the wrong way around. This is taking metal from the brass part and it will deposit it on the copper part. The copper electrode, currently connected to the positive terminal, is now fully immersed in the electrolyte. This is for a reason. By having the piece of copper tube fully submerged, there's a greater surface area presented to the electrolyte, which is the main reason I decided to use a piece of tube, a greater surface area. Something's definitely happening to the end of the piece of brass bar. Just like the copper tube that I first used, it's turning black. So here's the result. Alchemy for beginners. What have I achieved? Have I turned base metals into gold? No, but at least it's turned black. And when I wipe off the black, I can't say it's particularly copper plated. So what's wrong here? To make electroplating work, you need what is called an anode and a cathode. And which is the anode and which is the cathode totally depends on which one is positively charged and which one is negatively charged. I purposely connected the wires the wrong way round just to see what happened. And after I reversed the polarity, making the copper tube negative and the piece of brass positive, something different has happened. The end of the brass bar is turning sort of a coppery colour. I was concerned that I was using too much power, so I dropped the voltage by using a 9-volt battery, but it didn't really make that much difference. I'm sure that when I was at school I was taught that electricity flowed from positive to negative, but in this case the copper is leaving the piece of tube and being deposited on the piece of brass, going from negative to positive. Once again, it's very cold in the workshop, so the reaction is quite slow, but you can clearly see after a very short time there is some deposit of copper on the brass bar. And when I left it for a longer period of time, it got more copper coloured. If I move the copper cathode closer to the brass anode, the reaction gets more violent. I wouldn't really call it violent, it just fizzes a bit more and more bubbles appear on the surface. Now it's time to experiment. This is the way I teach myself things. I'm never happy until I try different variables to see what happens. When I move the piece of copper tube that is charged negatively, the cathode, closer to the anode, which is charged positively, look at this. The reaction is definitely speeding up. The black spot that you can see on the brass bar is where I accidentally touched it against the copper tube. And I got a really nice underwater spark, but I don't think that's a very good idea. The copper plating results were not as good as they were when I had the electrodes in the opposite corners of the tub. But it's a start, it's making the brass a different colour. And now that I have the wires the right way round, it's not turning black. But the copper tube's turning black. Whether this is supposed to happen, I'm not sure. To make this short series, I could have sat for quite a while and watched many videos about electroplating. I think a good way of teaching people how to do things is possibly to show them how not to do it first. With the piece of copper tube too close to the brass bar, look at this, it's not very good at all. It's sort of copper plated, but it's not right. I knew the problem is that any plating is easily wiped off with a cloth. I've ordered some copper sulfate crystals which are pure, so I'm going to make a proper electrolyte bath and start again. And when I finally get some good electroplating results, I will use the chimney and copper plate the cap. I'd like to repeat what I said at the beginning of the video. Please do not write in and tell me how to do it. I like to find out the hard way, that way the knowledge sinks into my brain much better. And that's it for the introduction. Stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back, making it unnecessary to comment that the videos are too short.